what we want to do is as you've seen, there's Dropbox, there's Box, there's Google Docs, etc., etc. And I'm actually pretty sure that a lot of people will use multiple interfaces. So really, that's not truly a single source of truth, if you will. It's not really specifying, look, here's my information. There's no real project flow to the whole thing. So what we really want to do is come up with a solution where everyone is connected and is using indeed a single source of truth to manage the information. That's really what this is all about. So when we looked at A360 Team, which is now on the market for, I believe, 2 years or so, the main concept behind A360 Team was really to combine, to have a single source of truth, if you will, for 3 aspects of project design. One is the people. One is those different users that need access to the information. So we wanted to make sure that we can easily set up projects where we can invite different users in. And as you'll see in Collaboration for Revit in a second, it's not just about those designers and the engineers themselves. There's actually 2 tiers, if you will. These are the first line of users that need the information and that want to communicate on a design. But the second aspect is all of these downstream disciplines, if you will. Remember that Huadoa project that I mentioned earlier on, those different users in those different stages of the design, they all want to have influence, if you will. They all want to understand, they all want to see and consult the information that is there. And that ties back into the future of making things, where we want to have all of these users connected together, if you will. So that's one aspect of A360 Team. The second aspect is that we really want to make sure that the different file formats are being supported. So not just Revit files, but we want to make sure that we can have videos up there, DWGs, DXFs, and not just the Autodesk file formats, but just about any file format out there. Which is the reason why, for instance, on A360 Team, we have implemented the large model viewer, which allows us to view quite a bit of file formats. I'll talk about that viewer in a bit, and you'll see it in action during the demo later on. So that's the second aspect. The third aspect is that we really want to support those different locations, workflows, situations in which you can find yourself, such as in a meeting where you really want to have that information, or you want to make sure that you email but you don't want to send out 50 gigs of Revit file. You want to make sure that you can communicate around the project, linking back to the information on the cloud and actually manage that information. So that's the third aspect of A360 Team. So as you can see, 3 pillars: the persons, the file formats, if you will, and the sort of situations, workflows that we want to support. That's truly what A360 Team is all about. And that's why we tied it to Collaboration for Revit. So you get those different users, completely agnostic, if you will, about team that they're in, location they're in, company they're in. Those are the project members that need to communicate on the data. We want to have team activity around that. We want to look at the project data, and obviously, as I mentioned before, BIM lives in the cloud. We want to have those common models out there on A360 Team. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with A360 Team, this is sort of the look and feel. It has changed a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but the idea has obviously remained the same. There's an A360 Team hub, which is the location where everything is happening, and then from a company's point of view, we can define different projects, if you will, that we can invite people into. Okay. And obviously, as I mentioned before, again, future of making things, we want to make sure that people have access to the information. Well, that means we want to provide access wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever tool you have at your in that location, be that a mobile phone or Android device, iOS device, laptop or whatever. We want to make sure that the experience, if you will, is identical to all users. As I mentioned, the large model viewer, really what we want to do is within that A360 Team project that you're invited to, you need to be able to understand what is happening. So 2D files or 2D sheets, 3D information, properties of those objects, that should all be exposed to that communication platform, which is what it really is. So if you look at the A360 value proposition, it's a dead easy thing to set up, and it focuses on 3 areas, which is the work together or sharing, the viewing of information, and the easily retrievable information within A360 team.